One of the building types that has been most identified with Kohn Pedersen Fox is the urban high-rise commercial office building. Our aspiration from the earliest days was to find ways for these buildings to be able to create a more social interaction with the cities that they inhabit. Tall building and its role within the city is like the role of an individual at a cocktail party. To have a good cocktail party, the individuals can't stand isolated from each other without generating some form of conversation, right? Tall buildings need to find a way to respond to their context.
The site is in the heart of the insurance district, which is surrounded by Lloyd's of London. It's the sort of primary insurance building that the world knows. The Willis building as well. On the other side of Leadenhall Street, you've got the cheese grater and the gherkin. But the site that we've got is sort of the critical mass where those insurance buildings come together.
Just to the north of the building, there is a listed church and some lower facades. To the west and to the south, there are larger buildings. And so the building folds like an origami paper sculpture or a sort of crystalline form in order to have shoulders and ribs that refer to the surroundings.
Our intention was always to speak to all of the surrounding buildings, but also create open space for them to all exist separately. So whilst the buildings are very, very close together, there's always this space to allow each one to breathe in its own right. So there's a dynamic view the local authorities consider when they're considering tall buildings in the city. How the Dome of St Paul's is viewed along about a mile stretch of Fleet Street. What the Scalpel does is actually lean into and hides behind the dome, informing the overall massing and design of this building.
Something of this scale and with such a pure shape needed a simple material palette on the outside.
The idea was to create a really taut skin with a very defined profile from long distance and close up. So we spent a lot of time considering how best to integrate the Woodford stones into the building. They represent air, sea, land and fire. It's what insurance people insured against, and that's really why they were installed originally on the top of the stair towers to the original 1950s Lloyd's building. They're part of the rich history of insurance on the site. They've informed the way in which our ground floor works.
There's a sculptural stair that's behind the main wall in the reception, conceived as a monolithic stone sculpture in itself. But we designed it so that everything looks like it's hewn out of one block. The idea was to convey a feeling of solidity inside the building as a foil to this kind of gossamer exterior.
This language emerged as a result of the nature of this context. That's what we always try to do.